Hey guys, welcome to World Chess Championship Game 6, and this championship is played between Topalov and Anand and Topalov. Previous 5 games have yielded points 3 for Topalov and Anand and 2 points for Topalov. This is Game 6. It's just a still from Game 6 where Anand is watching Topalov trying to make a move, or he is just thinking what move to make next. So, with that information, let's get into the game. Topalov and Anand has the white pieces and Topalov is the one with the black pieces. Vishy opens with d4 and we have knight to f6. Now we get c4 and e6. Knight to f3 and d5, which is the queen's gambit declined line. We get g3 and now d takes c4, bishop to g2, again putting this bishop on a nice diagonal, and this is now the Catalan opening. This bishop is called the Catalan bishop. We have a6 and knight to e5. We have c5 and knight to a3. Just a nice developing move, exactly like in game 2. This is exactly what was played in game 2 as well. We get c takes d4, knight a takes c4, and now bishop to c5, putting some support to this pawn. We get castles from Anand and Topalov castles as well. Bishop to g5, and this is where Anand deviates from his original move from in game 2, where he played bishop to d2. Now he went bishop to g5 and trying to pin this knight. So we get after h6 was played, asking Anand, what do you want to do? You have to go, either you have to go back to d2 or you have to capture on the knight. You cannot go back here because if you play g5, then your bishop is stuck and you have to capture this bishop for a single pawn. So, not doing that, but instead bishop captures f6, eliminating the knight and also getting rid of bishop pair. We get queen captures f6, and now Anand only has this Catalan bishop. He doesn't have the other bishop, the light square bishop, and black Topalov has both the light square and the dark square bishop. We get knight to d3, now moving away with the knight, and we have bishop to a7, just going back because this bishop was attacked. Queen to a4, and what's the idea behind queen to a4, and what is Anand trying to do? This is exactly what Topalov was thinking, because queen is not staring at anything here. I mean, you don't really know what the purpose here was. So Topalov thought about this position for over 10 minutes, and finally he played knight to c6. Which is a pretty good move. You are stopping any possible attacks, but this queen on a4, nobody knows what it was really doing there. But the idea of Anand was to get Topalov out of the engine line preparation that he usually prefers, which is why he made this move, trying to just confuse Topalov and trying to create something new from game 2, trying to develop. And once this was done, he plays rook a to c1, now capturing this open file, the only open file on the board, and we have e5. Now bishop captures c6, and even in this position, Topalov was amazed because you don't usually give up this bishop, Catalan bishop, because this is a very powerful piece in white's attack, and all you're going to get is a single pawn once you capture with the queen. Anand is going to capture with his queen. Then once you capture with the pawn, you get knight captures here, and all you win out of this is just a pawn for this wonderful bishop and this Catalan bishop. But that was Anand's plan all along, and which is why he put his queen here. So in case queen captures, he wants to get the queens off the board. But Topalov had other plans, so he played this b pawn to b5, and after b5 we get queen to c2. Now because the queen was attacked, queen goes back to c2 and queen captures c6, now not allowing this queen captures here because Topalov wants to keep his queens on the board. Now we get knight c captures e5, and again opening up an attack on this queen. We get, after opening an attack, we get queen to e4 and queen to c6. This Anand is such an amazing player that he finally doesn't allow Topalov's queen to stay on the board. He wants to get rid of this queen as soon as possible because he has something wonderful planned here. And there is nothing you can do. You cannot run away with the queen, try to hide it somewhere, because no matter what you do, your rook is falling, so you have to capture it. But you don't immediately have to capture this piece and allow this knight to come here with an attack on your bishop. But what you can do is what Topalov played, and the move was bishop to b7. Now attacking this queen, and you are indirectly defending it. But Anand did not mind because his goal was to get the queens off the board as soon as possible. So queen takes e4, bishop takes e4, and rook to c2. Now the plan is to double up the rooks on c file and keep the control of the c file till the game ends. Rook f to e8, now putting some pressure on this file, because eventually this pawn could be weak. Because you have a light square bishop, you could attack this pawn. So for now, Topalov wants to keep some pressure. And also, once you capture this piece, you might get knight captures, but then again this attack is constant. So rook f to c1, doubling up on the c file. And here as black, you don't really want to give up this wonderful bishop, because look at this bishop controlling the entire diagonal. And there is nothing white can do about this, because he doesn't have a light square bishop. He gave it up pretty early in the game. So this is a very important piece that black has, and if you find yourself in such situations where your opponent has gone for a sacrifice or has gone for an exchange of this Catalan bishop, then make sure you keep this bishop alive and try to protect it for the rest of the game, because it is definitely going to be useful in the future. So just not capturing this piece here, but instead f6, trying to kick away this knight, and then saying what are you going to do about this knight. Knight to d7, now knight is trying to remaneuver itself, and bishop to f5, not allowing this knight to come here with an attack on this bishop. And also this bishop now attacks the knight, so the knight has to move. Knight to c7, knight to c5, it moves trying to create some weaknesses and try to again attack this piece. Now the plan Anand has is only to attack this bishop and try to get this light square bishop off the board, because it's a very powerful piece and Anand knows it. And Topalov knows this as well, so he will do everything he can to defend this bishop. We have bishop to b6, and now knight to b7. Again, a good move by Anand, because now he's threatening to put his knight on this d6 square and fork these two pieces. And once you fork the two pieces, you have to move your rook, and your bishop is falling. So Anand is an amazing player, and he finds this wonderful move. But Topalov sees all of this, and he immediately moves his bishop away, bishop to d7. Now this will come an attack against the rook, but not against this bishop, which Topalov wants to protect. We get knight to f4, not immediately attacking, but trying to get the second knight into the game. Now Anand has two knights against two bishops. Two bishops are usually very powerful pieces in the end games, so Anand wants to at least get rid of one of the bishops, if not both, and he would hope for this light square bishop, which is more powerful than the dark square bishop. So rook a to b8 now, attacking the bishop, attacking the knight, and you have to now move the knight. Knight to d6, now attacking this rook as planned, and rook to e5, getting out of any attacks and controlling these squares. So for now, knight cannot jump into any of those squares, for now, that is. Knight to c8, Anand again hoping that Topalov captures this piece, then you're going to get rook captures, black rook then captures, and rook captures with check. Eventually you will eliminate this wonderful bishop, light square bishop. That's Anand's only plan for the next few moves. So none of that was played. We get bishop to a5. Since this piece was also attacked, he just decides to move the bishop and keep this bishop on the board. Knight to d3, now attacking this rook, and rook to e8. And these are amazing grandmaster moves because, see, grandmasters try to play positional chess. They don't go for some captures and try to get some ending where everything is draw, but they try to attain a position where after captures they will get the advantage. That's how you have to think. And in the last few moves you have seen there was no pawn move made, but there were a lot of knight, rook and bishop moves. So again, knight to a7. Anand is making a lot of knight moves, but I mean, he has two knights and he wants to get rid of at least one of the bishops, hoping for this light square bishop. So bishop to b6, now again attacking this piece, and now knight to c6, saying okay, if you want to capture that, I'll be really happy because I'm going to get this rook captures. But that's not what Topalov wants to do, so rook to b7. And now, because you have to move the rook because it was attacked. Knight c to b4. Again, going after this piece, attacking this backward pawn here. So we get a5, pushing the pawn, asking where do you want to go with the knight. Knight to d5, again attacking at least the dark square bishop. We get a4, and finally Anand eliminates one of these knights. His knights and the dark square bishop. Knight captures b6. Rook captures b6, so finally at least one bishop is off the board. Even though it's not the light square, he's fine even with the dark square. And he probably knows from here on Topalov is not going to give up this light square bishop so easily, and this is heading towards a draw. So knight to c5 was played and bishop to f5, now going after the doubled up rooks, at least trying to get one of the rooks off the board. And if bishop captures the rook, that is completely fine. It's definitely a winning endgame for black. But Anand will not fall for it, so rook to d2, getting out of the way, and now you attack the d pawn. Rook to c6, saying I am eventually going to put this rook here and attack your piece. There is nothing you can do because you cannot even cannot move this knight as it's pinned to the rook because your rook is not supported by anything. So this captures would be a great blunder. And b4, now just protecting this knight. We have a captures b3 en passant and a captures b3. We have b4 now, pushing the pawn, not allowing white to push its pawn. But we get rook captures d4. It's fine in this position because you can even protect this knight with playing a move like c4. So it's completely fine. Previously you couldn't because the c4 was being attacked by this black pawn. Rook takes e2, since there is a pawn hanging, why not grab it? And now rook takes b4. Anand creates his own passed pawn, hoping to push it someday. Bishop to h3, and now this bishop is nicely controlling both of these squares, the g2 and f1 square. And if you can imagine this rook not being here, the rook to e1 would be checkmate. So now white's rook on c1 has to keep an eye on this file all the time. So for the moment this rook is stuck here. But so are black's pieces. I mean, he has two pieces. This rook always has to control the e file, and this bishop cannot move because once it does, king can just escape. So for now, two of these pieces are tied here, but probably not for too long. Now we get rook b to c4, adding some more defense and creating a way to push this pawn. Now rook to d6. Black doesn't really allow, because if you play rook to d2, then you attack this piece twice and there is not good defense against it. So we have rook to e4, first hoping to trade off one of the rooks, and rook to b2, not allowing that, but instead attacking this piece. Once you move the knight, then this piece is falling, but for now this knight it's not a problem. We get rook e to e1, now going for some defense with this rook to f1, trying to put some good pieces here in the defense. And now rook d to d2, again attacking this piece, but knight to e4. So if you capture my pawn, I'm going to capture your rook. It's not an ideal position to be in. And now if you try to capture this f2 pawn, I am protecting the pawn with my knight. So all my worries are solved for now. Let's see what happens next. Rook to d4, again going back, attacking this knight, and now you don't really want to push this pawn because then this pawn becomes a weakness, so you have to move the knight again. Knight to c5 and rook d to d2 again. Just a couple of repeating moves. And knight to e4. Here black should have again gone for the same variation and tried to get a draw, because this position is completely drawn position. There is nothing either of the sides can do, because all the pieces are being controlled nicely, and there's nothing both sides can do to improve. So, but Topalov didn't really want to go for that. He thought that he could get an advantage out of this, and he played rook to d3. Now going after this pawn. We get rook to b1, definitely trying to exchange off one of the rooks, and rook d takes b3. Getting rid of the pass pawn, now you don't really have to worry, you can focus your entire game on the king side. Knight to d2, now attacking this piece here, and rook to b4, just simply defending. f3 first, making some breathing space for the king, and g5. Black does the same, he wants to push the pawns and try to get the pawns even closer to queening. Now we get rook takes b2 and rook takes b2, eliminating one of the rooks off the board, and this rook is now attacking the knight, so you have to defend it. Rook to d1, nicely defending the knight. King to f7, getting the king closer into the game, and king to f2. White king does the same. h5, we get king to e3, rook to c2, and rook to e1. There is nothing either sides have to do, you just have to keep an eye on this file. Even now you can move since you don't have the second rook to support it, and you're completely fine in this position as white and as black. King to g6 and rook to a6. Now not allowing this pawn to be pushed as it's pinned. Bishop to f5 and rook to d6. We have rook to c3, king to f2, rook to c2, king to e3, rook to c3, a couple of repeating moves after king to f2 and rook to c2. This was the final position in the game, as both sides realize that it's after 3-4 repetition, it's a draw, and there is no way to make any progress for either side. You cannot really attack this knight because it's on a dark square, you have a light square bishop, and since you are attacking with the rook, you have a rook to defend it. There is nothing to do. Even if you push the pawn, you're going to get captures, and then there is no pushing any of these pawns, and your pawns are going to be stuck. So after this game, which ended up in a draw, the points is 3.5 Topalov and Anand and 2.5 for Veselin Topalov. And this was a wonderful, amazing game, a middle game mainly, where Anand decided to give up the Catalan bishop to get some advantage, get the queens off the board, but Topalov defended it pretty nicely. He knew that this piece is very important. And a fun fact for you, we had 25 knight moves in this game. So that's it from me. Namaste. See you next time.